It's Mimi Chen sitting here with Rufus and Martha Wainwright, and we're here to talk about the wonderful cancer charities that they're involved with, but also, get a little taste of what both of them have been up to, considering that we're talking to two very creative individuals, and I'm sure your fans want to know what have they been doing?
What haven't we been doing?
Uh-huh. What haven't we been doing? Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, it's just one of those lives where things are just too busy, huh?
Well, I mean, I'll just say off the bat, watching Rufus sing at Dodger Stadium or watching his, just seeing how active he is. Whoops, let me turn that off. It all, and everything that he's doing is just unbelievably remarkable. So I commend
Oh, well,
greatly
thanks,
for the
Martha. Thanks,
for
Martha. And with all of you been doing too, as well. But you also have to remember that both of us, Martha and I, have teenage children now.
yes.
Oh,
So that makes it pretty challenging, but very rewarding in the end.
I know. How is it trying to balance the family and the work life?
Uh,
Well,
yep. I mean, it's
of course.
it's incredibly complicated. But oddly enough, uh, I think interesting for at least for our kids. I mean, they live lives kind of like no others, and even though it might be harder at times with the touring and the being artistic and all of this stuff, I think that they eventually appreciate just how unique their upbringing is, and as we did, when we were little, having artistic parents. So
And
it's
we're
it, yeah,
we're training them up to be able to replace us so that we can retire. So
yeah,
they'll be singing on these Christmas shows,
yeah, yeah,
getting better and better every year.
That
yes.
was my next question. Are they as talented as you guys? I shouldn't ask that though.
Uh,
I
you
tell
know,
I tell them they are. I tell them they are, but I don't know yet.
yeah, yeah. No, they're their own creations. I mean, one thing I will say is that yes, Viva, my daughter, she's incredibly talented, I think, but it's also important not to, force her to do something that she may or may not want to do. It has to come from them. So I think both Martha and I were kind of tricked a little bit when we were young, because we were so willing and able. We were singing all the time, and so our mother Kate just went with that, and it was not totally seamless, but it was it sort of, we were off to the races. I think with our kids it's different. I mean, we're whatever, it's a whole other ball game. So I'm just waiting, but you got to wait for it to come from the kid. That's what I'm saying.
It must have been quite the childhood, to be the offspring of not one, but two very famous parents. Uh, People probably don't know that your mother is Kate McGarrigle of the McGarrigle sisters and just a wonderful artist, and, your father, Loudon Wainwright. So, how was that in terms of, when you were children? Was that your goal to become performing artists just like your parents?
Well, I think both of us were drawn to the stage. We grew up with our mom, but we would come down to New York to see our dad very often and run up on stage with him at every opportunity. There was also our dad's girlfriend at the time, for much of our youth, was Suzy Roach from the Roaches, the Roaches did an incredible Christmas show in New York City that was very well known. And I remember just jumping up on stage and just trying to get as much attention as I could in that moment. And so I think it would be fair to say that Rufus and I were definitely pulled towards what maybe we had to, that's how we felt we could get some
Yeah,
attention. I'm not sure.
yeah.
You know,
And the Christmas shows are definitely the centerpiece of that
yeah.
transfer. They've always, yeah, now for two generations have been sort of the portal where you kind of, as a kid, you go in and you try it out, and you either continue or we'll see. But yeah, so yeah, the Christmas shows have always been big family affairs, and an
And
opportunity.
on this Christmas show, we'll have Lucy, says
Yeah,
his daughter, Ann Loudon. So
yeah.
never ends.
I was about to say, how much of your family is going to show up for this upcoming event at the Saban Theatre?
Yeah, I mean, Loudon and Lucy are definitely they're billed, so they're coming, and but Viva's gonna come. She's still deciding, what she wants. I mean, I don't think anybody can really downplay, the trials and tribulations of a 14-year-old girl, especially in Los Angeles. and and so there's a lot of, excitement, but also fear, and it's showbiz town. So I think that, I think when we did this in Montreal, it was always a little more just sort of a fun thing to do. But in California, it's more Hollywood. So it can be quite daunting.
It does seem to be quite the lineup. Now, tell
Yeah.
me about these two different charities, because I know you both were involved with Folk Cancer, which
Yeah.
was a charity begun because of your mom.
Yeah.
But then you decided to add on Cancer Can
Yeah.
Rock. So
Yeah.
tell us about that.
Yeah, they're
Well,
basically what happened is that, well, okay.
it's so
we
hard to explain. Folk cancer is a kind of a
well,
merge.
yeah, they're one
Oh,
charity.
oh, okay.
So Cancer Can Rock, who are an amazing charity and really well organized and had a lot of experience, were doing exactly something that Rufus and I had wanted to do for a while and were trying to do, but we're sort of having difficulty. They were raising money to help musicians make music, musicians who have cancer, and they had a great, their everything was in place to do that, and so we decided to hitch our wagon to them and to sort of try and expand on this idea. And so Folk Cancer, the Kate McGarrigle project, was created, and so that's where Rufus and I come in, and where we're kind of specifically doing it in our mom's name, because we wanted to sort of continue bringing her in to this as we go through it. For us, it's important to keep that connection with her because she was such an incredible artist, and her cancer and premature death really had a huge intense effect on our family, and was really very hard. But music got us through that, and so we wanted to find a way to make the connection and raise money for patients, cancer patients who are singer-songwriters.
And I will say I was one of the beneficiaries, and I am so grateful to them because
Oh,
it
wow.
was just
Yeah.
such a joyous event in my life, because when you look at what you have to go through, it was not fun.
Yeah.
And so I'm still very, full of that that joy that came from just that day that
Oh,
they
wonderful.
put me together with all those people.
Yeah. No, I mean, I will say that for our mother, it was, we would raise money for cancer research while our mother was sick, actually, and she was very involved in that, and that was a big thing. And we continue to give money here and there for during other shows too, for specifically for medical research. But as time passed, and also as we kind of got into I'm not going to say the game, but the fundraising world, we realized that the kind of money that we wanted to raise, which was a lot of money, was kind of small fries, though, in terms of like giving to hospitals and and to institutions, and we just wanted to create something that was impactful, with a smaller amount of money, as opposed to the millions and millions that go to hospitals and stuff. So we thought we could create these really nice grants, of a few $1,000s, and just give it to a patient who needs that escape, and an artist who needs to just take a break from their treatment, and focus on music. And so we wanted to just do something that was very impactful, and that is something that our mother really thrived on while she was sick was just songwriting and having musical moments to to just escape for a little bit.
It's just a wonderful thing. I mean, and it's also just it combines everything, the music community and
Yeah.
just spreading the joy
Yeah.
in something that is not quite so joyous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, how about this event that you guys have planned? I am just amazed by the lineup. You put this together. I'm like, wow, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Well, Rufus and I have been doing these Christmas shows in our mom's name. Now, they were started with my mom, Kate and Anna
Yeah.
McGarrigle, doing these Christmas shows about 25 years ago because my mom loved Christmas and we always sang together as a family. And so the model sort of came out of that. First, it was mainly just family members, but then Emmylou Harris, who is a really good friend of the family, she started coming and doing all of them. Then we, as the venues got bigger, we were doing them at Carnegie Hall and at the Royal Albert Hall and at these bigger stages. Then we were able to really kind of get some big names, so that was really exciting. And then it became, us with, trying to pull in some big names, which worked because, we're great, they're great, why not? And so these shows kind of came to life and this has been the model that we've been doing now for a bunch of years now, where we showcase these wonderful big artists, some really famous, some less famous, whatever. And then they each do 2 or 3 songs, and then we do a bunch of songs together, and it's all on this Christmas theme. And it's really been the shows are really appreciated and adored by the audience and also the people.
Internationally.
Yeah, internationally. And I think what's also just one thing to say about our Christmas show is that it's really an amazing musical show in the sense that it's not just, we're not just doing, jingle bells necessarily. There are some fun standards. There's definitely some fun Christmas standards, but we also invite every artist to bring to the show what they consider is a holiday show,
Oh, okay.
it's not just, White Christmas and Jingle Bells or whatever. There's also sometimes there's anti-war songs, sometimes there's anti-Christmas songs. Other religions, of course, are brought into it. Songs about light and dark and season and love and these other kind of concepts that I think that right now in particular is really an important message, so it's really inclusive and really about fun and the holidays, but also really about the seriousness of the spirit of this time of year.
I think that's fabulous. I was actually going to ask you, like, are these just going to be traditional songs or is also, you have people like Beck and Lucy Dacus. How did you get them on the bill?
Yeah. Well, I've been working quite a bit recently with Lucy. We did the New Yorker festival together, and she's just an incredible woman, and so knowledgeable and kind and a great artist. So she's a new friend. I've known Beck for many years in LA. In fact, we now kind of live in the same building, which is funny. But and so yeah, I think it's just both Martha and I. One of the things that we've also inherited from our parents is sort of, we like to hang out and see what's going
We
on.
know we know a lot of famous people, but also I think I would have to say that I think a lot of these people say yes to do the show because they're huge Rufus fans and huge Martha fans and huge McGarrigle fans and understand that it's kind of the quality of the show is going to be top notch.
Well, I also think that people would want to join just because it just sounds like a fun affair.
Yeah. We certainly need fun these days. So yeah.
Exactly. Can you give me an idea? Like, have you said a few of the songs that you're going to be doing?
Well, I think we're going to be doing with the family. We're going to be doing. We'll if we make it through
Kimmel.
December.
For Kimmel, on Kimmel, we're going to do
Yeah, we're going to do if we make it.
December.
Yeah, with my
Merle
dad.
Haggard.
Merle Haggard song.
Which is
I also like to do. I always do a French version of Holy Night, Oh Holy Night, because it was originally written in French, the kind of operatic
Oh, wow.
version of that. And then
That's
Martha,
also a challenging song.
yeah, it's challenging. And
We do.
Martha sings in French too. So we like to
I'll
bring
sing a
people
little
back
bit in
there.
French. We have some traditional songs in there. I do have also a fun version. So, I mean, it's sort of based on the original of the Waitresses Christmas wrapping, so they kind of get some fun 80s stuff into there. Rufus and I have also in recent years been doing Silver and Gold, the Sufjan Stevens song, which is so beautiful. So it really runs. And we also ask the guests, to bring their ideas. And these guests are oftentimes just really come up with fabulous things.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it. And I think, anyone who knows like what the show is about, they'll probably want to join in too. Will there be, of course, the big question is there going to be an audience sing along at all?
Well, yes. I mean, I think you and I are singing, right?
I would
Yeah,
love to.
you're
Yeah,
gonna
we're
be
doing.
there.
Yeah,
That's
we're
what I
doing. Yeah,
understand.
yeah.
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 We're gonna do Silent Night, I think, and I'm gonna
Ooh.
definitely request the audience to sing along eventually with us.
Well,
So
and
yeah.
also, yeah, there'll be those also in the show. There's a lot of group songs maybe that you're gonna have to sing on too, if that's okay. Because
Oh,
we
I'm,
have a
I'm
lot
down with
of
anything.
good. There'll be some choir practices in the days before if you're available.
Yes.
Get you on some parts. There'll be some sheet music if you're up for that. If not, we will make sure you get the parts. And so we try to kind of have those bigger, more singers on a bunch of songs. Yeah.
I'll be there.
Good.
Any kind of singing you want, I'll help with it.
Wait.
Right.
Well, I really thank you for taking the time to spend with us. And as I said, the station was very excited to be involved with this event, also to support the folk cancer and Cancer Can Rock and the idea of, supporting musicians. That's actually one of the big mission statements that we have is supporting the local musicians and
Yeah,
just supporting musicians in general.
yeah. Great. Well, thank you.
Yeah, really.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you so much for your time. I will look forward
Okay.
to seeing you in person.
See you
Okay.
soon. See you soon.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.